Good morning, beloved. As you step into this Friday, August 14th, take a moment to breathe deeply and remember this. Not everything God is doing in your life has been revealed to you yet. Some blessings are still being prepared. Some doors are still being unlocked. Some answers are already moving toward you, even though your eyes cannot see them and your hands cannot touch them yet. Today we come before God with open hearts and expectant spirits. This is a morning prayer for open doors, breakthrough, favor, guidance, and unexpected blessings. Perhaps you have been waiting for something that seems delayed. Perhaps you have prayed over a situation so many times that you have wondered whether heaven heard you. But delay does not mean denial, and silence does not mean absence. God can prepare a way where you see no way. He can create opportunities where there seem to be none. He can bring the right person, the right opportunity, the right answer, or the right moment into your life at a time you never expected. So before you begin this Friday, release the weight of yesterday. Release the fear of tomorrow. Give God your plans, your disappointments, your questions, and your dreams. Trust that what is meant for you does not have to be forced by fear. What God opens, no one can close. Let this prayer become a declaration over your day. I am not forgotten. I am not abandoned. God is preparing something I cannot yet see. I will walk forward in faith, believing that unexpected blessings, open doors, divine favor, and breakthrough can meet me along the way. Now, wherever you are, quiet your heart. Put aside the distractions for a few moments. Let faith become louder than fear, hope become stronger than disappointment, and gratitude become greater than anxiety. Let us pray. God is preparing blessings you cannot see yet. There are seasons in life when you look around and wonder, God, where are you? You have prayed, you have waited, you have hoped, and still the door appears closed. You have asked for direction, but the road ahead seems covered in mist. You have asked for an answer, but the silence feels longer than you expected. Yet there is something your eyes cannot always recognize. God can be working in places you cannot see. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean nothing is happening. A seed beneath the soil looks like nothing. It is covered by darkness. No flower is visible. No branch is reaching toward the morning sky. But beneath that quiet earth, something is happening. Roots are forming, life is gathering strength. What appears to be stillness may actually be preparation. Sometimes your life is like that seed. You may be looking at your circumstances and seeing only what has not happened. But God may be preparing what you have been praying for in ways you cannot yet understand. The blessing may not have arrived because the preparation is not finished. The door may not have opened because something behind that door is still being arranged. And perhaps that is why you must learn not to judge your future by the appearance of your present. Your present circumstances are not the final chapter of your story. There are blessings that require preparation. There are opportunities that require maturity. There are doors that require you to become stronger before you walk through them. Sometimes what you call a delay is actually protection. Sometimes what feels like rejection is redirection. Sometimes the thing you wanted so desperately was never meant to be the thing that carried you into your next season. God sees what you cannot see. You see today. God sees tomorrow. You see the closed door. God sees what is on the other side. You see the empty space. God sees what can be built there. And when you understand that, you can begin to rest. You do not have to know every detail of the journey in order to trust the one who knows the destination. There will be mornings when you wake up and nothing appears different. The same responsibilities may be waiting. The same problems may be sitting at your doorstep. The same questions may still be unanswered. But do not let an unchanged morning convince you that God has abandoned your future. Sometimes the greatest changes begin quietly. A conversation can change your direction. An opportunity can appear unexpectedly. A person can enter your life at exactly the right moment. An idea can come to you while you are doing something ordinary. A door can open in a place you never thought to look. That is why you must remain attentive. Do not become so focused on the blessing you are waiting for that you fail to recognize the small blessings already appearing around you. Perhaps the unexpected blessing will not arrive in the form you imagined. Perhaps you were expecting one door, and God will show you another. Perhaps you were asking for one opportunity, and God will prepare something greater. Perhaps you thought the answer had to come through one person, one job, one place, or one particular circumstance, while God was preparing a completely different path. Faith means being willing to trust God beyond your own expectations. You can make plans, but you must leave room for divine surprises. There are moments when God will ask you to walk forward before you understand the entire road. You may not have all the answers. You may not know exactly how everything will work out, but you can still take the next faithful step. You can wake up this Friday and say, "I do not know everything that this day will bring, but I know I will not enter it defeated." You can say, "I will not allow yesterday's disappointment to steal today's possibility." You can say, "I will not close my heart because one door closed." You can say, "I will remain hopeful because my story is still being written." There is strength in that kind of faith. Not the kind of faith that pretends problems do not exist, but the kind that looks directly at the problem and still says, "This is not bigger than my God." You may have cried over something you could not change. You may have spent nights wondering when your circumstances would turn around. You may have watched other people receive opportunities while you were still waiting for yours. But be careful not to compare your chapter with someone else's chapter. Their harvest does not mean your seed has been forgotten. Their open door does not mean yours will remain closed. Their testimony does not cancel your testimony. Your journey has its own timing, and sometimes the blessing you receive after a long season of waiting carries a depth that you could not have understood before the waiting. Waiting can teach you patience. Waiting can teach you discernment. Waiting can teach you gratitude. Waiting can teach you that your worth was never determined by how quickly something happened for you. So if you are waiting today, do not spend this Friday believing that waiting means you are losing. You may be growing. You may be preparing. You may be becoming the person who can carry the blessing you have been asking for. Because sometimes we ask God for a bigger door without realizing that we first need a stronger heart. We ask for greater responsibility without realizing that we need greater wisdom. We ask for abundance without realizing that we need greater discipline. We ask for influence without realizing that we need greater character. God is not only interested in giving you something, He is interested in preparing you to handle it. That is why the unseen work matters. Before the tree gives fruit, it grows roots. Before the building rises, the foundation is laid. Before the morning arrives, the night must pass. And before some blessings become visible in your life, there may be preparation taking place beyond your understanding. So do not despise the quiet season. Do not despise the ordinary morning. Do not despise the small beginning. Do not despise the days when you feel as though nothing important is happening. Something may be happening. You simply may not be able to see it yet. And perhaps today is the day you stop demanding proof before you choose peace. Perhaps today you decide that you will trust God while the answer is still forming. You will pray while the door is still closed. You will praise while the breakthrough is still invisible. You will keep moving while the road is still uncertain. That is not weakness. That is courage. There is a special kind of strength in a person who can say, "I do not see it, but I still believe." So as this Friday begins, lift your heart. Do not let disappointment become your identity. Do not let yesterday's rejection convince you that tomorrow has nothing better to offer. Do not let one closed door make you afraid of every door. God can still surprise you. He can still make a way. He can still bring opportunity into unexpected places. He can still place favor where you thought there would be resistance. He can still give you peace before He changes the circumstance. And sometimes that peace is the first sign that something inside you has already begun to change. So walk into this day with your eyes open and your heart ready. Notice the conversation. Notice the opportunity. Notice the idea. Notice the invitation. Notice the small answer. Notice the unexpected kindness. Notice the strength you did not know you had. Because blessings do not always arrive with thunder. Sometimes they arrive quietly. Sometimes they look like a second chance. Sometimes they look like a new direction. Sometimes they look like a closed door that saved you from the wrong path, and sometimes they look like the courage to begin again. Whatever form your next blessing takes, do not miss it because you were too busy waiting for it to look exactly the way you imagined. Trust God with the unseen. Trust Him with the unfinished. Trust Him with the unanswered. Trust Him with the timing. And when you cannot understand what He is doing, remember that you were never asked to understand everything. You were asked to trust. So breathe deeply this morning. Release the need to know every detail. Release the fear that nothing will change. Release the disappointment of what did not happen yesterday. And make room in your heart for what may happen today. God is preparing blessings you cannot see yet. The door may still be closed, but your story is not closed. The answer may still be forming, but your prayer has not become meaningless. The road may still be unclear, but you are not walking it alone. Keep your faith. Keep your heart open. Keep your hands ready to receive, and keep walking. Because sometimes, just beyond what you can currently see, a blessing is already making its way toward you. Believe God can open doors that no human can open. There are moments in life when you stand before a door and wonder why it will not open. You have knocked, you have waited, you have prayed, you have done everything you know to do, and still the door remains closed. But a closed door is not always the end of the road. Sometimes it is simply an invitation to stop trying to force what was never meant to be forced. There is a kind of door that no human being can open for you. It does not respond to pressure, connections, money, influence, or human approval. It opens when the right time arrives. And when that door opens, you will understand something you could not see while you were waiting. What is meant for you does not require you to destroy yourself trying to obtain it. You do not have to beg for every opportunity. You do not have to chase every person. You do not have to prove your worth to everyone who refuses to recognize it. There are places where you will walk in because the door was prepared for you. There are opportunities that will find you when you have stopped running after them. There are moments when circumstances will align in a way that reminds you that you were never carrying the entire burden by yourself. That is the beauty of divine favor. Favor does not mean that life will never be difficult. It does not mean every path will be easy. It means that even when you encounter obstacles, you can continue believing that your future is not controlled by the obstacles in front of you. A person can say no to you, but that does not mean every person will say no. One company can reject you, but that does not mean your gifts have no value. One relationship can end, but that does not mean love has disappeared from your life. One opportunity can pass you by, but that does not mean your greatest opportunity has passed. Never give one closed door the authority to define your entire future. You have more life ahead of you. You have more possibilities ahead of you. You have more chapters waiting to be written. And perhaps the door you are staring at today is not the door you were meant to enter. Sometimes we become so attached to a particular outcome that we mistake our desire for destiny. We say, God, this is the door I want. But faith learns to say, God, open the door that is right for me, even if it is different from the one I imagined. That prayer requires courage, because sometimes the door God opens will not look familiar. It may lead you somewhere you never planned to go. It may introduce you to people you never expected to meet. It may require you to leave behind habits, places, or relationships that once felt comfortable. And when that happens, you may feel afraid. But remember this, comfort and purpose are not always the same thing. A familiar room can become too small for your future. A familiar routine can become a cage for your potential. A familiar environment can become a place where your gifts remain hidden because everyone has become accustomed to seeing you as you were. Sometimes you need a new door because you are becoming someone new, and that newness can be uncomfortable. But discomfort does not always mean you are going in the wrong direction. Sometimes discomfort is evidence that you are growing. So when an unexpected door opens, do not immediately reject it simply because it does not look like the door you prayed for. Pause, listen, pray, consider. Ask God for wisdom, because the greatest opportunities are not always wrapped in familiar packaging. Some doors appear ordinary from the outside but lead into extraordinary seasons. And some doors that look impressive can lead you away from your peace. That is why you need more than opportunity. You need discernment. You need wisdom to recognize which doors deserve your yes and which doors deserve your no. Not every open door is a divine assignment. Sometimes the strongest thing you can say is no. Sometimes the greatest blessing is the door you did not enter. There are places you should never return to simply because they are familiar. There are situations you should not keep forcing simply because you have already invested so much time in them. There are opportunities that look good on paper but cost you your peace. Learn to recognize the difference. God can open doors, but you must still walk with wisdom. And when He opens the right one, do not allow fear to convince you to stay outside. You may feel unqualified. You may wonder whether you are ready. You may look at the opportunity and think, who am I to step into this? But sometimes you are not supposed to feel completely ready. Growth often begins where certainty ends. You take the step. You learn. You adjust. You become stronger. You discover abilities you did not know you possessed. You begin to understand that the person you were yesterday does not have to be the person who walks through today's door. So if God presents you with a new opportunity, do not immediately talk yourself out of it. Do not say, someone else is better. Do not say, I am too old. Do not say, I have failed too many times. Do not say, people like me do not get opportunities like this. Those words can become invisible walls. You must be careful not to close from the inside a door that God has opened from the outside. Fear can make a person stand outside a blessing. Fear can whisper, you are not ready. Faith can answer, I will learn. Fear can whisper, what if you fail? Faith can answer, then I will rise again. Fear can whisper, what will people say? Faith can answer, my life is not built around the opinions of people. There will always be somebody who does not understand your journey. There will always be somebody who thinks you should remain where you are. There will always be somebody who remembers your old mistakes and uses them to measure your future. But people do not get to decide the size of your destiny. Your past does not have the final word. Your failures do not have the final word. Your disappointments do not have the final word. You are allowed to begin again. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to walk through a new door. And you are allowed to believe that better days can still find you. So this Friday morning, make room for possibility. Do not wake up expecting only what happened yesterday. Wake up believing that something new can happen. Perhaps the door will be financial. Perhaps it will be professional. Perhaps it will be relational. Perhaps it will be an opportunity to serve. Perhaps it will be an idea that changes the direction of your life. Perhaps it will simply be a new peace inside your heart. Because not every breakthrough changes your circumstances immediately. Some breakthroughs change you first. You become less afraid. You become more patient. You become more confident. You stop chasing what keeps running away from you. You stop begging people to recognize your value. You stop measuring yourself by what you lack. And you begin walking with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that their life still has purpose. That is a door too. The door from fear into courage. The door from confusion into wisdom. The door from bitterness into forgiveness. The door from exhaustion into peace. And sometimes the most important door God opens is the one inside you, a new way of thinking, a new willingness to trust, a new courage to begin, a new understanding of who you are. So do not be discouraged because one door closed. There are doors you have not even seen yet. There are possibilities you have not considered. There are people you have not met. There are opportunities you have not imagined. Your world is larger than your present circumstances. Your future is larger than today's disappointment. And your story is larger than the chapter you are currently reading. Trust that. Walk forward. Keep your heart open, but keep your wisdom awake. When the right door appears, you will not need to destroy yourself to enter it. You will recognize the opportunity. You will feel the invitation to move. And even if your hands tremble, you can take the step. Because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is deciding that fear will not be your master. So today, if a door closes, do not sit down in despair. Take a breath, Lift your head. Look around. There may be another door nearby. And if you cannot see it yet, keep walking. Keep praying. Keep preparing. Keep becoming. Because the door that is truly meant for you does not need to be forced by desperation. When the time is right, it can open in a way that makes you realize why the other doors had to remain closed. And when you finally walk through it, remember the season when you thought nothing was happening. Remember the nights when you wondered whether your prayers mattered. Remember the moments when you felt forgotten. Then look at where you are standing and say with gratitude, I could not see the way, but I was being led toward it. That is the hope you carry into this Friday. God can open doors that no human being can close. He can create possibilities beyond your imagination. He can redirect your steps when you cannot see the road. And He can lead you toward a future that is greater than the one you were trying so desperately to create by yourself. So do not fear the closed door. Do not worship the locked gate. Do not remain standing before what refuses to open. Turn your heart toward God. Ask for wisdom. Ask for courage. Ask for discernment. And then keep moving. The next door may be closer than you think. Release fear, doubt, and the need to control everything. There comes a moment when you have to put down what you were never meant to carry. You can carry responsibilities. You can carry hope. You can carry love. But you cannot carry tomorrow in your hands and expect to have peace today. Sometimes the heaviest burden is not the problem itself. It is the constant need to know how everything will turn out. You want the answer before you take the step. You want the door to open before you trust. You want to know who will help you, when the breakthrough will come, and exactly how the story will end. But faith does not always give you the whole map. Sometimes faith gives you enough light for the next step. And that must be enough. There are things in your life you cannot control. You cannot control another person's decisions. You cannot control how quickly circumstances change. You cannot control every opportunity that comes or goes. You cannot control what people think about you. You cannot control yesterday, and you cannot control tomorrow. But you can choose what you do with today. You can choose whether fear will rule your thoughts. You can choose whether disappointment will harden your heart. You can choose whether uncertainty will stop your feet. And you can choose whether you will trust God even when you cannot understand what He is doing. Fear often asks questions that have no satisfying answer. What if everything goes wrong? What if the opportunity never comes? What if I fail again? What if they leave? What if I lose what I have? What if tomorrow is worse than today? If you allow fear to ask those questions long enough, it will convince you that the safest way to live is to never move at all. But there is a danger in trying to protect yourself from every possible disappointment. You can become so afraid of falling that you never climb. You can become so afraid of rejection that you never ask. You can become so afraid of failure that you never begin. You can become so afraid of losing that you never fully receive. Fear may promise safety, but it often builds a smaller life. Faith does not promise that nothing difficult will happen. Faith promises that difficulty does not have to destroy you. There will be moments when you do not know what comes next. There will be seasons when your plans change. There will be doors you expected to open that remain closed. There will be answers that take longer than you hoped. But you can still breathe. You can still pray. You can still stand. You can still say, I do not know what tomorrow holds, but I will not surrender today to fear. That is surrender, not giving up, but giving over. Giving over the need to control every detail. Giving over the demand to understand every delay. Giving over the obsession with predicting every outcome. You do your part. You prepare. You work. You pray. You make wise decisions. And then you release what belongs beyond your control. There is freedom in that release. Imagine holding a rope so tightly that your hands begin to hurt. You keep holding because you believe that if you loosen your grip, everything will fall apart. But sometimes the rope is hurting you more than it is helping you. Sometimes you have to open your hands. Not because you do not care, because you trust. You say, God, I have done what I can. I have prayed what I know to pray. I have taken the steps I know to take. Now I place the rest in your hands. That prayer can change the atmosphere of your heart. You may still have questions. You may still have responsibilities. You may still have challenges. But you are no longer carrying them alone. And perhaps that is what you need this Friday morning. Not another reason to worry. Not another attempt to predict the future. But permission to breathe. Permission to say, I do not have to solve my entire life today. You only need to take today's step. Tomorrow will have its own step. The next week will have its own step. The future will reveal itself in its own time. Do not drag tomorrow's troubles into today's morning. Tomorrow has not happened yet. And if tomorrow brings a challenge, you will meet it with the strength available to you then. You do not need tomorrow's strength today. You need today's strength for today's journey. That is enough. Sometimes we exhaust ourselves by fighting battles that have not even arrived. We rehearse conversations that may never happen. We imagine disasters that may never occur. We worry about rejection before anyone has rejected us. We mourn losses that have not happened. And in doing so, we allow imaginary pain to steal real peace. You deserve better than that. Your mind deserves moments of rest. Your heart deserves moments of quiet. Your spirit deserves space to breathe. So when fear begins telling you everything that could go wrong, answer it with what you know to be true. I am here. I am breathing. I have survived difficult days before. I can take one step at a time. I do not need to know everything today. I can ask God for wisdom. I can release what I cannot control. Those words may sound simple, but sometimes simple truths are the strongest truths. You have already survived things you once thought would break you. You have walked through days you did not think you could endure. You have cried and still continued. You have been disappointed and still found a reason to rise. You have lost things and still discovered that life had not ended. Look at the evidence of your own life. You are still here, and there is strength in that. Do not underestimate what you have already overcome. Fear will tell you that you are fragile. Your history tells you otherwise. You have been tested. You have been stretched. You have been changed, and you are still becoming. So perhaps the answer is not to eliminate every uncertainty. Perhaps the answer is to become stronger in the presence of uncertainty. You can walk through an unclear season without becoming an unclear person. You can have unanswered questions without losing your identity. You can experience disappointment without surrendering your hope. You can face a closed door without believing that all doors are closed. That is maturity. That is faith. That is freedom. And there is another thing you must release: the need to control how other people see you. You cannot control everyone's opinion. You cannot make everyone understand your heart. You cannot make everyone appreciate your intentions. You cannot make everyone celebrate your growth. Some people will misunderstand you. Some will criticize you. Some will remember an old version of you long after you have changed. Let them. You do not have to spend your life standing in a courtroom defending yourself against every opinion. Your peace is more valuable than winning every argument. Your purpose is more important than receiving everyone's approval. There is a beautiful freedom in knowing who you are and refusing to become a prisoner of public opinion. Walk honestly, walk humbly, walk with integrity, and then let people decide what they will decide. You are not responsible for controlling every perception. You are responsible for the person you choose to be. That is enough. So today, release the fear that says you must know everything. Release the doubt that says you are not capable of moving forward. Release the anxiety that says you must control every outcome. Release the habit of imagining the worst. Release the need to force every door. And release the belief that your future depends entirely on your ability to predict it. You can prepare without panicking. You can plan without obsessing. You can hope without demanding. You can work without worrying that everything depends on you. You can trust. And trust does not mean sitting still and doing nothing. Trust means doing what is yours to do while allowing God to handle what is beyond your reach. If there is a phone call you need to make it. If there is work you need to complete it. If there is an apology you need to offer it. If there is a step you need to take it. But after you have done your part, stop carrying what belongs to God. Let the results unfold. You cannot force a seed to become a tree by pulling on its branches. You cannot make morning arrive by arguing with the night. You cannot make a door open by destroying your hands against it. There are things that require patience. There are things that require timing. There are things that require surrender. And there are things that require you to simply keep walking. So this Friday, choose peace over panic. Choose faith over endless speculation. Choose preparation over fear. Choose prayer over obsession. Choose the next step instead of demanding the entire staircase. You may not know how the breakthrough will come. You may not know when the unexpected blessing will appear. You may not know which door will open. But you can know this: you do not have to be controlled by fear. You do not have to surrender your peace to uncertainty. You do not have to solve tomorrow before breakfast. You can meet this day as it comes, with courage, with wisdom, with gratitude, with faith, and with an open heart. There is something powerful about opening your hands and saying, "God, I trust you with what I cannot control." When you say that, you are not admitting defeat. You are making room for peace, room for wisdom, room for unexpected blessings, room for new opportunities, room for a future that may be better than anything you could have planned alone. So breathe, let your shoulders relax, let yesterday remain yesterday, let tomorrow remain tomorrow, and let today be today. Take the next step, then the next. You do not have to carry the whole journey at once. Sometimes the greatest breakthrough begins when you finally stop fighting for control and start walking in trust. And as you walk into this Friday, remember, you are not required to know everything. You are only required to keep moving forward with faith. What you cannot see, God can see. What you cannot understand, God can understand. What you cannot control, you can place into His hands. And what you cannot carry, you can finally release. Expect breakthrough after seasons of waiting. There are seasons when waiting feels like a room with no windows. You pray, you hope, you keep believing, yet the answer seems to remain somewhere beyond your reach. You look at the calendar and wonder how much longer. You look at your circumstances and wonder whether anything will ever change. But waiting does not mean that nothing is happening. Sometimes waiting is where the deepest preparation takes place. A seed does not become a tree in one afternoon. A sunrise does not arrive because you demanded it. A wound does not heal because you are impatient with the process. There are things in life that require time, and your future is no different. You may wish the breakthrough would come immediately, but there are moments when God is preparing both the blessing and the person who will receive it. That is why you must not mistake delay for denial. You may have asked for a new beginning, but perhaps you first needed to release an old one. You may have asked for greater opportunity, but perhaps you needed to develop the courage to carry it. You may have asked for abundance, but perhaps you needed to learn how to steward what you already had. You may have asked for peace, but perhaps you needed to stop allowing every circumstance to determine the condition of your heart. Sometimes the waiting season is not punishment, it is preparation. And preparation can be uncomfortable. It can feel lonely. It can make you question yourself. It can make you wonder whether your prayers matter. But there are lessons you can learn in waiting that you may never learn in comfort. Waiting teaches patience. Waiting teaches discernment. Waiting teaches endurance. Waiting teaches you that you are stronger than you thought. When everything happens immediately, you may never discover what you are capable of becoming. But when you have to wait, you learn how to keep going without immediate evidence. That is a different kind of strength. It is easy to be hopeful when everything is going your way. The deeper work begins when you must hope while nothing appears to be changing. That is where faith becomes more than words. Faith becomes a decision. You decide to keep believing. You decide to keep praying. You decide to keep preparing. You decide to keep your heart open. Not because you know exactly when the breakthrough will come, but because you refuse to believe that your present circumstance is the final definition of your life. Think about the night. The darkness does not mean the sun has disappeared forever. It simply means you are in a part of the day where you cannot see its light. Morning is still coming, and sometimes your life is like that. You are in a dark chapter, but the darkness is not the whole story. There can be a morning after this. There can be another opportunity. There can be another beginning. There can be another reason to smile. There can be another door. There can be another chapter. So do not let a difficult season convince you that your entire life will always be difficult. Seasons change. The weather changes. Circumstances change. People change. And you change. What feels permanent today may look completely different a year from now. That is why you must be careful with the words you speak over your future. Do not say, nothing will ever change. Do not say, this is how my life will always be. Do not allow a temporary circumstance to become a permanent belief. Instead, say, this is where I am today, but this is not where I must remain. There is power in that distinction. You can acknowledge reality without surrendering your hope. You can say this is difficult without saying I am defeated. You can say I am waiting without saying I have been forgotten. You can say I do not understand without saying there is no purpose. You can admit that the road is hard and still believe that the road leads somewhere. And while you wait, prepare. Do not spend your entire waiting season staring at the closed door. Use the time to strengthen yourself. Learn, grow, pray, build, heal. Develop your gifts. Improve your habits. Take care of what has already been placed in your hands, because when the door finally opens, you do not want to spend your time wishing you had prepared. Sometimes we pray for opportunities while ignoring preparation. We ask for the next level while refusing to develop the discipline required for it. We ask for greater responsibility while neglecting the responsibilities already in front of us. We ask for abundance while wasting what we already have. Preparation is part of faith. If you are believing for something greater, prepare your heart for it. Prepare your mind. Prepare your character. Prepare your skills. Prepare your attitude. Prepare your life. You do not know exactly when the breakthrough will come, but you can make sure that when it arrives, you are ready to recognize it. And there is another danger in waiting: comparison. You watch someone else receive what you have been praying for. You see their success, their opportunity, their new beginning, their answered prayer, and suddenly you begin asking, what about me? Be careful. Comparison can make you despise your own journey. Someone else's harvest does not mean your soil is barren. Someone else's timing is not evidence that your timing is wrong. Life is not a race where everyone receives the same blessing on the same day. You are not behind simply because someone else arrived before you. Your path has its own rhythm. Your story has its own timing. You have things to learn that they did not have to learn. You have places to go that they will never go. You have a purpose that does not require you to become a copy of somebody else's life. So bless them. Celebrate their victory. Then return to your own path. Your turn can still come. And when it does, you will understand why your journey could not look exactly like theirs. Perhaps the waiting protected you from entering the wrong door too early. Perhaps the delay allowed circumstances to align. Perhaps the time gave you wisdom. Perhaps it gave you strength. Perhaps it gave you the opportunity to heal from something you would have carried into your next chapter. Sometimes you want God to change the circumstance, but God begins by changing you. You want the situation to become easier, but you become stronger. You want the road to become clearer, but you become wiser. You want the waiting to end, but you discover that you can endure more than you thought. And then one day something changes. The phone rings. The opportunity appears. The conversation happens. The door opens. The answer arrives. And you realize that while you are asking when, you are also becoming ready. That is why you must not waste the waiting season. Use it. Let it shape you. Let it teach you. Let it deepen you. Let it prepare you. But do not let it harden you. There is a difference between becoming strong and becoming bitter. Strength says, I have been through difficult things, but I am still hopeful. Bitterness says, I have been hurt, so I will never trust again. Choose strength. You do not have to become cold because life has been difficult. You can remain tender and still be strong. You can remain hopeful without being naive. You can protect your peace without closing your heart. You can learn from disappointment without becoming defined by it. That is the kind of person who is ready for breakthrough. Because breakthrough is not only about what changes around you, it is also about what changes within you. Perhaps the greatest breakthrough is when you stop believing that your worth depends on how quickly your prayers are answered. You are valuable while you wait. You are worthy while you wait. You are growing while you wait. Your life matters while you wait. You do not have to become somebody else to deserve a better tomorrow. You simply need to continue becoming the best version of who you were created to be. So if you have been waiting, let this Friday remind you not to give up. You may be closer than you think. You may be one conversation away from a new opportunity, one decision away from a new direction, one courageous step away from a new chapter. You do not know what this day may carry. That is why you should enter it with expectation, not desperate expectation, peaceful expectation, the kind that says, I am ready for something good, but I trust God with the timing. That is a beautiful place to live. You hope without demanding. You prepare without panicking. You work without obsessing. You pray without giving up. You wait without losing yourself. And you believe that the story is still unfolding. So today, if you are tired of waiting, take another breath. You do not need to pretend that waiting is easy. Tell God the truth. Say, I am tired. Say, I am confused. Say, I do not understand. And then say, but I will not give up. There is courage in that prayer, because faith is not pretending that you never struggle. Faith is choosing to continue even when you struggle. Keep your heart open. Keep your hands ready. Keep your eyes attentive. Keep preparing. Keep praying. Keep walking. Your breakthrough may not arrive in the package you expected. It may come through an unexpected person, an unexpected opportunity, an unexpected idea, an unexpected change of direction. So do not become so attached to the form of the blessing that you miss the blessing itself. Allow room for surprise. Allow room for redirection. Allow room for something better than what you originally imagined. And when the breakthrough comes, remember the waiting. Remember the mornings when you had to encourage yourself. Remember the nights when you wondered whether anything would change. Remember the days when you kept going without seeing results. Those days were not wasted. They were part of your preparation. The waiting shaped the person who will walk through the door. So lift your head. The season you are in is not the season you will always be in. The night does not last forever. The seed does not remain underground forever. The river does not stay in the same place forever. And your story does not end in the chapter where you are waiting. There can be a breakthrough after the waiting. There can be joy after the tears. There can be opportunity after disappointment. There can be peace after uncertainty. There can be a new beginning after an ending. So step into this Friday with faith. Do not demand that you know exactly when the answer will come. Simply remain ready, remain hopeful, remain faithful to what is in your hands today. Because sometimes the breakthrough you have been praying for is not as far away as it feels. And sometimes, while you are waiting for God to change your circumstances, God is preparing you for the moment when everything begins to change. Walk into Friday with gratitude and expectation. There is something powerful about the way you begin a morning. Before the noise of the world becomes loud, before responsibilities start calling your name, before yesterday's worries begin knocking on the door of your mind, you have a moment, a quiet moment, a sacred moment, a moment when you can decide what kind of spirit you will carry into the day. And this Friday you can choose gratitude. You can wake up and say, "Thank you, God, for allowing me to see another morning." Not because everything is perfect, not because every prayer has been answered, not because every problem has disappeared, but because you are still here. There is breath in your body. There is another sunrise before you. There is another opportunity to begin again. Sometimes we become so focused on what we are waiting to receive that we forget to appreciate what we have already been given. We look toward the unopened door and forget the doors that have already carried us this far. We think about the blessing that has not arrived and overlook the blessings that surround us every day. Gratitude teaches you to look again. Look at your life again. Look at the people who have stood beside you. Look at the lessons that made you wiser. Look at the difficult seasons you survived. Look at the strength you discovered when you thought you had none left. Look at the mornings you thought you would never see, and yet here you are. You made it. That deserves gratitude. Gratitude does not mean you pretend that pain does not exist. It means pain does not become the only thing you can see. You can acknowledge what is difficult and still recognize what is beautiful. You can say, I am waiting for a breakthrough, while also saying, thank you for carrying me through the waiting. You can say, I need another door to open, while also saying, thank you for every door that has already opened. You can say, I am asking for more, while also saying, thank you for what I already have. That is the balance of a grateful heart. And there is something else gratitude does. It changes your attention. What you repeatedly focus on becomes what feels largest in your life. If you spend every morning counting everything that is wrong, your problems can begin to look bigger than your possibilities. But when you begin looking for reasons to be thankful, you start noticing things you once ignored. A kind word, a peaceful moment, a new idea, a second chance. A beautiful sky. A person who called when you needed encouragement. A lesson learned from yesterday. A strength you did not know you possessed. These things may appear small, but small blessings have a way of becoming great sources of strength. So walk into this Friday with your eyes open. Do not assume that the only blessing that matters is the one you are still waiting for. Sometimes the blessing is already standing beside you. Sometimes the miracle is that you kept going. Sometimes the breakthrough begins with a changed perspective. And sometimes God prepares you for the next season by teaching you to appreciate the current one. That does not mean you should stop dreaming. No, dream, hope, ask, believe, expect good things, but do not make your happiness dependent upon receiving one particular answer. You can have expectation without desperation. You can hope for tomorrow without rejecting today. You can believe that something better is coming while still being thankful for what is already here. That is freedom. There will always be another thing to chase, another goal, another achievement, another possession, another milestone. If you make gratitude wait until you have everything you want, you may spend your entire life waiting to become thankful. Instead, become thankful now, right here, right where you are, with the life you have today, with the people you have today, with the opportunities you have today, with the strength you have today, and then let expectation rise from that gratitude. Expectation is not arrogance. It is not demanding that life obey your plans. It is the quiet belief that tomorrow can contain possibilities you cannot yet see. It is waking up and saying, I do not know what this day will bring, but I am willing to receive its good. That kind of expectation changes the way you walk. You become more attentive, more courageous, more willing to try, more willing to listen, more willing to recognize an opportunity. Because if you believe nothing good can happen, you may walk past a blessing without recognizing it. But if you believe that possibility exists, you start looking for it. You begin noticing the door. You begin hearing the invitation. You begin recognizing the idea. You begin seeing the opportunity. You begin saying yes to possibilities that fear once made you ignore. This is why gratitude and expectation belong together. Gratitude says, thank you for what has been. Expectation says, I am open to what may come. One honors the past. The other welcomes the future. And together they help you live fully in the present. So this Friday morning, do not carry yesterday like a suitcase you refuse to put down. Yesterday had its lessons. Receive them. Learn from them. But let yesterday remain where it belongs. You cannot rewrite it. You cannot relive it. You cannot change what was said or unsaid. But you can decide what meaning you will carry forward. If yesterday disappointed you, do not let that disappointment become tomorrow's expectation. If yesterday rejected you, do not assume today will do the same. If yesterday closed a door, do not assume every door is closed. Today is new, and newness deserves a chance. Perhaps this Friday will bring an unexpected conversation. Perhaps you will receive an opportunity. Perhaps an old problem will begin moving toward resolution. Perhaps you will discover a new direction. Perhaps someone will encourage you. Perhaps you will find peace about something that has troubled you for months. Or perhaps nothing dramatic will happen at all, and even then the day can still be beautiful. because not every blessing announces itself loudly. Some blessings are quiet. Some blessings are internal. Some blessings are simply the strength to remain hopeful, the ability to sleep peacefully, the courage to forgive, the wisdom to walk away, the patience to wait, the willingness to begin again. These are blessings too. Do not overlook them because they do not make headlines. Your life is made of moments, and those moments deserve your attention. So before you begin this Friday, take a moment and name what you are grateful for. Think of 3 things, then 5, then 10. They do not have to be enormous. Be thankful for breath. Be thankful for another morning. Be thankful for the ability to learn. Be thankful for the people who love you. Be thankful for lessons that made you stronger. Be thankful for opportunities you have been given. Be thankful for the mistakes that taught you wisdom. Be thankful for the strength to keep moving. Be thankful for the future that has not yet been written. And then say, God, I am grateful for what I have, and I trust you with what I do not yet have. That is a powerful prayer, because it frees you from the exhausting belief that you must possess everything before you can experience peace. You can have peace while you are still becoming. You can have joy while you are still waiting. You can have gratitude while you are still asking. And you can have hope while you are still healing from disappointment. Never underestimate the power of hope. Hope gives you a reason to rise. Hope tells you that the story can change. Hope keeps your heart from becoming permanently closed because of temporary pain. Hope says there may be more opportunities, more lessons, more laughter, more love, more purpose, more doors, more mornings, more reasons to be grateful. And perhaps one of those reasons is waiting for you today. So walk into Friday with gratitude beneath your feet and expectation in your heart. Do not walk as someone who has been defeated. Walk as someone who has survived. Walk as someone who has learned. Walk as someone who still believes that life can surprise you with goodness. You do not have to know where every road leads. You only need enough courage to take the next step. And as you take it, remain thankful. Thankful for the road behind you. Thankful for the ground beneath you. Thankful for the breath within you. Thankful for the possibility ahead of you. Because your future is not empty. It is unwritten. And an unwritten page is not something to fear. It is an invitation. An invitation to believe again. An invitation to dream again. An invitation to expect something beautiful. So this Friday, do not wake up asking only, what can I get? Ask, what can I appreciate? Ask, what can I learn? Ask, who can I encourage? Ask, what opportunity can I recognize? Ask, where can I bring peace? Ask, how can I walk faithfully through this day? When you begin asking those questions, something changes. You stop living only as a person waiting for life to happen to you. You become a person participating in the beauty of the day. You begin giving as well as receiving. You begin noticing as well as seeking. You begin appreciating as well as asking. And that is where expectation becomes healthy. You are not demanding that God give you everything you imagined. You are saying, I trust that there is goodness ahead, and I am ready to recognize it. Maybe the blessing will come through an open door. Maybe it will come through a closed door that protects you. Maybe it will come through a new opportunity. Maybe it will come through peace. Maybe it will come through wisdom. Whatever form it takes, receive it with gratitude. And if the breakthrough does not happen today, do not lose heart. Tomorrow is another page. Next week is another page. Your story is still being written. Keep walking. Keep believing. Keep preparing. Keep giving thanks, because gratitude does not mean you have stopped expecting something better. It means you have learned how to appreciate the journey while you wait for what is next. And that is a beautiful way to enter any morning, with your heart thankful, with your mind peaceful, with your spirit hopeful, and with your eyes open to the unexpected blessings that may already be making their way toward you.